Welcome back. So get ready to strengthen your back and improve your overall posture with a yoga move that can really be for everyone. Yoga instructor Celeste Ellis is here to help us with backbends. So when we are talking about backbends, can you briefly explain that and maybe why it's been named wrong?
Yeah, so when we think of backbends, there's usually a lot of fear around them, but really I like to think of them as like a front body opening. It's more about opening through your heart and less about putting weight into your lower back. So the reason that we're doing them is as we age, our chin comes to our chest and we curve through our back. Same thing emotionally, if we're stressed, if we're scared, we grow like this. So the purpose of doing them and why they're essential is kind of opening up.
And can I also say, a lot of us sit at desks where we're typing and you may not be at the right anatomical posture, so we're kind of like rolled over typing the whole time.
Yes, yeah, so they're really essential for everybody. And they're accessible for everybody in all places.
Okay, and some people may think of the traditional like bendy rubber band backbend where it's like your hands go back and hit the floor, but that's not the only one we want to consider.
No, really when we're doing backbends, we want to focus actually on bending in the space right behind your heart. That's where we're tightest.
Okay.
So a lot of people when they do a backbend, they shift their hips forward and then they feel compression in their lumbar spine and then they don't like that feeling.
And that's your lower spine you're talking about?
Your lower back, and then they feel like that feels like too much pressure. But really when you're doing backbends, you want to think about opening through your upper back.
Okay.
So when I start at the top of my head falls back first, my middle chest starts to open, and then maybe I would start to lean back. That way I'm not starting right with my lower back, where I'm compressing and injuring that space.
Okay, and we kind of want to move through it slowly as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so can you walk me through it? I think you said head first, right?
Yep,
So
you're gonna start at the top of your head, and then you're gonna try and open across your chest, and then maybe you would start to lean back. She should feel a really big front body opening here. That's gonna kind of reverse any of her aging, and when she comes up, the last thing to come forward is her chin.
Okay, so the head is the last thing.
Yes.
And see, that gives you such a nice stretch rather than sometimes crunching those little muscles in the back.
Yes, yeah, and there's a few different other variations. You could do this, I mean, you could do this standing up in the middle of work while you're doing your laundry.
Oh, show me that. We need to do that at like 2 o'clock today. Let's just go for it.
So another variation you could do of this that's a little bit more opening in your shoulders as well would be interlacing your hands behind your back. You try and bring your wrists together, and the same thing. I'm gonna start top down. So I open through my throat first, then my mid-chest, and then I would start to sink back.
Okay, so it's important to just roll back kind of slowly and to think about really opening up your upper back.
And you really want to welcome this and think joy, because it can be really sensational.
Oh, I'm thinking joy right now.
So when you come out of it, you really want to think about the chin being the last thing to come forward. It's really slow and soft. That way you're moving safely in the body.
Okay, that makes so much sense. Now, do you have maybe one more that you'd like to show us?
Yeah, so another one you can actually do, it's on the ground, you can do it anywhere. You don't need a yoga mat to do this. You don't need a lot of space. So what this is called a camel. Your toes can be tucked or untucked. I'm gonna start the same method. So I'm gonna observe my body. I'm gonna start top down. My head goes back. You can hear it's pretty opening through your throat. Then the middle of my chest. Then maybe I would start to shift back and reach for my feet. As I'm here, I'm gonna press and lift my heart up. It feels really great across your chest. And then slowly, my head would be the last thing to come forward.
That's great. Oh my gosh, I'm so impressed by this. But the one thing I wanted to say when I did that brief back bend was you do start to feel like you're rolling your shoulders back and just standing a little bit taller.
Yeah, emotionally you can take up more space and be more confident in your body.
So thank you so much for all of those tips, Celeste. We really appreciate it.